Sagittarius, have you ever felt like something invisible was chasing you? Not a person, but a force. A force that is both terrifying and sacred. For me, it nearly killed me. But for you, it may open a destiny beyond imagination. In this video, I'll share with you a story, a near-death collision that changed everything, and why something similar might be happening to you, Sagittarius. Not to destroy you, but to prepare you for a divine gift from the universe. If you feel something stirring inside you, yet you can't quite name it, leave a quiet affirmation. I am ready to receive the mystery God is sending to me. Because sometimes, the sacred doesn't knock with a voice. It trembles inside your soul. That comment is not just a statement. It's a way to connect to the divine energy that is trying to guide you. But there are moments when what keeps us awake isn't the noise outside. It's that vague pressure in the chest, as if something is approaching. Not a person, not a situation, but something. Strange, invisible, powerful, and nameless. You walk, you go about your day as usual, but deep down, something is following. You can't see it, but you feel it. So what exactly is following you? And why did it choose you, not someone else? Be ready, because what's about to be revealed may make you look back at every trembling moment of your life with entirely new eyes. Sometimes, what terrifies us isn't the thunder in a storm, but the silence of the night. When you sense something moving behind you, though no one is in the room, you turn around, nothing. You try to brush it off. It's just the wind, just a wandering thought. But deep in your heart, you know, it's getting closer. There are times in life when you're no longer the one steering the wheel. Life starts pulling you down roads that don't appear on any map. Dreams grow stranger. Your body more sensitive, conversations more cryptic. And then, you begin to realize something invisible is walking beside you. Not everyone believes in this. But Sagittarius, you're not just anyone. You feel energy. You touch souls without touching hands. And you understand nothing in this world is random. Maybe you're tired, deeply tired, as if you're carrying something that doesn't even belong to you. A sense that you owe something but can't remember when the debt began. A weariness no one sees, yet you feel it in every breath. And no, it's not because you're weak. It's a signal from a soul preparing for transformation. When Pluto, the planet of shadow and transformation, starts moving in reverse across your zodiac path, what's buried the deepest begins to rise. It could be an old memory, a relationship that was never truly closed, or a vow spoken by you or someone else to God. Nothing follows you, unless something in you remains unresolved. You are being pursued, but not by a person, by a piece of your own soul, still trapped, still unfinished. The irony? You don't need to run. What follows you didn't come to ruin. It came to awaken. It might be a warning, a matter left unforgiven, a responsibility your soul once vowed to carry from another lifetime. Or maybe it's simply the gaze of the Almighty, looking upon you one final time before delivering the test. Because you see, before God places a crown on someone's head, He allows them to fall, so they can understand the true weight of light. If you've never trembled in darkness, you will never hold the light with steady hands. This pursuit you feel, it may not be a threat. It may be destiny knocking. It brings challenge, but it also brings a reward. For Sagittarius, the one born to expand consciousness and lead with light, you are never followed by coincidence. You are chosen, and the soul of the chosen must walk through a darkness others may never know. The question is, can you be still enough to hear what it's trying to say to you? Someone once said, "We only fear what we do not understand." So what if you had the courage to look straight into the darkness that's been following you? Would you find light? Close your eyes for a minute. Take a deep breath. Can you feel it? Something calling you? No clear shape, but very real. It might be a message from a soul that has not yet crossed over, or a part of you from the past asking for redemption. And if you still think this is abstract, remember this: no one is awakened unless they've been asleep. Maybe the universe is using everything, even what you fear, just to bring you back to yourself. Because sometimes, God doesn't knock with a gentle voice. He shakes the house you live in just to make you walk outside. And if you're feeling something like that right now, Sagittarius, leave a whisper to yourself in the comments below. I'm not running. I am ready to face what is sacred and coming. Because that comment isn't just engagement, it's a confirmation. to yourself and to heaven. Because the moment we stop running is when everything begins. And then one day, what you always sensed won't just be a feeling anymore. It becomes real. No warning, no reason, no explanation. Just a moment when you're face to face with the edge between life and death and realize you weren't the one who nearly lost your life. Life nearly lost you. So what truly happened in that moment? Who or what intervened? And why, after everything, are you still here? Let me tell you the story of a near-death moment that changed my fate, and why I believe you too are being chosen to walk through a sacred gateway. If your life were suddenly interrupted, not by a person but by an unseen hand, what would you do? If the car you were driving suddenly spun out of control on a cold, wet highway, and instead of crashing into the barrier, it spun in circles across the asphalt and came to a stop, in silence. No scratches, no collision, no logical explanation. Would you call it luck? Or would you ask, who held me? And why am I still alive? I asked myself that very question. And today I share this not to be dramatic, but to warn you that maybe you too are being held back by a sacred hand you haven't yet recognized. That day, the rain poured like grief. The highway was slick. I was driving, my mind full of plans and expectations. Just another ordinary day. And then the car spun. No reaction time, no brakes, no impact. No cry for help could escape in time. But one thing I know for sure, something held me, not the brakes, but a force not of this world. And I understood I had crossed a sacred threshold that not everyone returns from to tell the story. When the car stopped, I opened my eyes, trembling. I was still me, but not the same me as before. Something inside me had been stripped away. Not my body, but my soul. You see, Sagittarius is the sign of movement. We love to travel. We believe every journey has meaning. But sometimes life will stop the car for you, not to scare you, but to ask you one question. Is this truly the road your soul was meant to walk? When you live too fast, when you stray from your inner call just to chase the noise outside, the universe will do everything it can to silence you, just so you can hear what you've forgotten. I don't believe it was an accident. I believe it was a divine call. Maybe you too have come close to death. Maybe you've had a moment just one heartbeat away from the end, and yet you're still here. No one survives without a reason. Sagittarius, if you are still breathing, if you are still listening to these words, then it's not that you aren't ready. It's that the world still needs you. Think back. Was there a moment you thought, I'm not going to make it? A sickness, an accident, a spiritual collapse, and somehow you made it through. You didn't save yourself. Something or someone held you back. Don't let that moment go to waste. Don't just live to exist. Live as if every breath is a thank you to the one who held you. And if this resonates with your heart, leave a sign. I was held back, not to continue as I was, but to begin anew. Because sometimes you didn't choose to come back to life. God chose to keep you for a greater mission you haven't yet seen. And if this touches something deep within you, leave a comment beneath this video. I was held back, not to continue as I was, but to begin anew. That comment isn't just a reaction, it's a declaration to yourself and to the one who once held you. And if you've ever experienced a moment like that, a moment where you stood at the edge of life and death, share that story, because maybe someone else is waiting to know they're not alone. And this is only the beginning, because life didn't just keep you alive to survive, it kept you alive to receive a message, a legacy, a destiny. Because in the end, the question isn't, did I almost die? It becomes, what did I come back for? If God held you here, if the universe gave you one more chance, then what mission are you still meant to fulfill? Maybe you're the one chosen to awaken something that has long been asleep, not just in you, but in those around you. Because Sagittarius, you didn't return from the edge of loss just to live quietly again. You returned to begin listening to a sacred call that not everyone can hear. And right after this, I'll tell you what really happened when a Sagittarius was chosen to awaken. Have you ever had a dream so strange you couldn't forget it, even after many years? Or have you ever just sat there, no clear reason, and the tears suddenly began to flow? You couldn't explain it with logic, but deep inside, you knew a call was echoing within your soul. And when the sun formed a square with Neptune, like it did not long ago, the universe didn't speak in human language. It spoke through dreams, through intuition, through events that seemed meaningless. A strange dream, repeating again and again. An unusual incident that forced you to stop. A random comment from a stranger that stirred something deep in you. That's not coincidence. That's a sacred call, sent just for you, Sagittarius. You're not like anyone else. No other sign was born with the mission to bring light the way you were. You don't live to avoid, you live to uncover the truth. You are the spiritual pilgrim, the storyteller of God, the gatekeeper of hidden knowledge. And that's why, when the invisible world wants to awaken someone, they choose Sagittarius. You may not hear it with your ears, but your heartbeat knows. You may not see it with your eyes, but your soul always knows when a truth is drawing near. Maybe you've ignored that call. You thought, I'm not ready. You were caught up in work, in family, in responsibility. But God doesn't call you when you're ready. He calls you so that you begin to get ready. And you know, not everyone can hear the call of God. But Sagittarius, with your free heart and sacred sensitivity, you are often the first to feel it when the unseen speaks. That's a privilege, but also a responsibility. You don't just live for yourself, you live to pass the light on to others, even when you yourself feel lost. But that's okay. Even the one who carries the torch sometimes needs to sit and reignite the flame within. And if you're in that moment now, where everything has been quiet for too long, where you're beginning to hear whispers from your own heart, then this is not the end. This is the gate. You don't have to understand everything. You just have to open your heart to the calling, even if it arrives as a collapse, a crisis, or a dream you cannot name. Because when you're ready to step forward, the strange will no longer be frightening. It becomes your teacher. It becomes light, and you return to your truest self. Because sometimes the very darkness chasing you is what leads you to where you belong. Not to make you fall, but to bring you through it so you can carry the light back into the world. And now, let's go deeper. To the part where we uncover the secret of the terrifying shadow that has silently followed you, and why it didn't come to destroy you, but to offer you a gift. One no one expects. There's something few people ever admit. We don't fear the darkness itself. We fear what it feels like when we step into it and realize we're no longer who we thought we were. And on the soul's journey, sometimes darkness doesn't come to consume you, but to make you see the light within that you forgot you ever had. In ancient Western legends, they speak of shadows that follow people at night. They weren't demons. They were angels disguised in terrifying forms, because people only wake up when they're standing before what makes them tremble the most. Have you ever felt like a part of you was quietly watching you? Not judging, not intervening, just observing. Waiting for the moment you stop, turn around and ask, who are you? Why won't you leave me alone? When Saturn, the planet of limits, lessons, and maturity, moves through the 12th house, the dark house of the unconscious, everything you've buried, avoided, or denied rises like a tide. You might feel like you're slipping into a crisis, but truly, you're being cleansed, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Because no one can step into a new beginning with a heart that hasn't yet healed. I used to fear my old memories. I used to fear loneliness, failure, not being understood. But then I realized the very things that scared me the most were the places where I learned the most about myself. Not because they were easy, but because they were real. If you feel like you're being followed by a shadow, a memory, a dream, or emotions that seem to come from nowhere, pause for a moment. Don't push it away. Ask it what it came to teach you. In astrology, they call this facing your shadow, a necessary step toward transformation, toward rebirth. Because if you don't see your fear, it will control you from the dark. But if you dare to step into it, it becomes a gate. Success doesn't come from comfort. It comes from passing through. And Sagittarius, you're not just a dreamer. You are someone with the courage to walk into the darkness and return with the light. If this touches something in you, if you're in the middle of a dream you can't understand, if you're hearing a call you cannot explain, leave a comment below. I am ready to walk through my fear and claim my destiny. That comment isn't for me to see. It's for the universe to witness that you are ready. And you know, the greatest gifts always come wrapped in adversity. The messenger of destiny doesn't wear shining armor. They may arrive with a terrifying face, just so you learn to listen with your heart, because only when you walk through the shadow are you truly ready to receive the gift no one else expected. A reward from the sacred realm that only those who overcome are ever allowed to touch. And in the next part, I will tell you what awaits you after you walk through the fear. No one sees the moment a seed breaks open beneath the ground. No one hears the whisper of a soul rising after fear. But when you have walked through darkness, when you've stood up from the quake, a miracle begins, quiet but powerful. And that is when real success begins. Not the kind people applaud, not the glitter of social media fame, but the success of a soul that overcame itself and is now ready to receive the reward from God. Astrology reveals, for Sagittarius, the full moon at month's end is shining over your 10th house, the house of career, public standing, and destiny. But the power is not in the moonlight. It's in how many dark nights you've already walked through to get here. I remember a woman born under the sign of Sagittarius. She once told me that on her 43rd birthday, she lost her job. All her financial plans, her reputation, even her sense of dignity, collapsed in a single afternoon. But she didn't blame anyone. She chose silence and began to rewrite her life. 40 days later, at the next full moon, a phone call came. No one expected that she would be invited to become a senior advisor for a global organization, where not only was she paid more, but given the power to shape policies that would change the lives of thousands. And do you know what's astonishing? It happened at the exact moment Jupiter, the ruling planet of Sagittarius, returned to its place on the day she was born. The universe never promises ease, but it never acts without meaning. Every time you tremble, every time you fall apart, every time you face yourself in solitude, you are being prepared for something others could never carry. And when you survive that sacred cleansing, you are not just a survivor, you are a messenger. You become a pathmaker for someone else. So if you are standing at the edge of your fear, if you're surrounded by questions with no answers in sight, know this: you are standing at the beginning of a miracle. And if your heart is quietly nodding, leave a comment. I am ready to receive the gift God has for me. You never know what might open with just one small affirmation. Because when you believe, you allow it to begin. And now, after all that you've walked through, you might be asking, so what held me back? Who or what protected me in the storm? Hold that silence a little longer, because the final part will reveal what your soul has always felt, but never dared to name. The universe doesn't deliver its gifts in shiny wrapping. It delivers them through what no one asks for. A fall, a breakdown, a dream that keeps you awake at night. And if you're brave enough to not just ask why, but to ask for what purpose, you'll discover the real gift has always been waiting on the other side of fear. We don't get to choose where we are born. We don't choose our circumstances, our gender, our family's past, but we always get to choose how we live. And Sagittarius, you weren't made to run away. You weren't born to live within limits. You are a free soul chosen to explore what is sacred, even when it comes in the form of something terrifying. You've walked through so much. You stayed silent when you had to. You stood strong when no one stayed. You kept asking questions, not to rebel, but to seek the truth. And that's what makes you different. That's why you are worthy of the gift no one else can carry. Maybe you've just escaped something strange. Maybe you still can't explain what held you back or what's been chasing you. But if you are still here and still listening, then maybe this is only the beginning of something greater. A new chapter God wrote just for you. And if what you've heard today has stirred something inside you, if your heart is touching something sacred, leave a like to let the universe know you are ready. Share this video as a torch you pass to the next soul. And more importantly, leave a comment. I receive my destiny from within the darkness because I know the light is waiting for me at the end of the path. Because no one reaches the end with light alone. We arrive there by having the courage to walk through the dark. Thank you for staying until the very end. You are not alone. Because when you are brave enough to walk through the darkness, all of heaven will shine upon your path. And this journey is only the beginning of something vast and sacred.